Hello, my name is Ruby Dat O'Leary. I am 39 years old. I am a registered nurse. I live in Red Deer, Alberta with my husband, my 2 dogs, and my cat. I am passionate about travel, cooking, and spending time in my garden. So my journey to diagnosis was a little bit unique in the sense that I was not diagnosed until I was 19 years old. I was the youngest of 4 children in my family, and my parents always noticed I did things a little bit differently than my siblings. I had a difficult time getting up from a seated position, a difficult time climbing stairs. I often walked on my tippy toes. I had enlarged calves, and I complained about pain in my legs on and off. As a young child, I was quite active in soccer and basketball, volleyball. I swam, I biked. But my coaches always noticed I did things a little bit differently. I ran a little bit differently than my peers. So when I was 18 years old, I was still walking on my tippy toes. I was advised to have an Achilles tendon lengthening. So I did go in to see a surgeon to have this done. And he noticed right away something wasn't quite right, and he did suspect muscular dystrophy. He asked me what I wanted to do with my life, and I was eager to tell him. I had just gone into nursing school, and I was so excited to get started. And his words have stuck with me since that day. He advised me not to go into nursing school, to change my career path, as I would not make it out of school to work as a registered nurse. I eventually saw a neurologist, and at the age of 19, I was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And although it was not apparent to anyone around me, the condition would progress and it would become apparent. I was not able to digest this information or really understand it, and as I went off to become a university student, I wanted to be as normal and fit in as best as I could. So I avoided telling people, I avoided telling friends, I avoided telling family and my peers. I worried that I would become a burden on my loved ones, and I did not want to share that information at that time. As a woman with DMD, there are unique challenges. Duchenne muscular dystrophy affects a very small population, and usually boys. Women are almost unheard of, so you're a very minute population and an already small population. This, of course, affects your access to medications, trials, awareness. This condition is always talked about as a physical condition. However, mental health plays a huge role here. As a condition progresses, anxieties increase, thinking about social acceptance, accessibility, self-isolation, and just wondering where this condition will go and what abilities will be taken from you next. Over the years, the isolation grew, and I struggled with feelings of guilt, anxiety, and fear of what my future would hold. I eventually decided I needed to tell the people around me. I told my friends, my family, my coworkers, and it was like a huge weight was taken off my shoulders, and I just realized what a great support system I had around me. As a child, I always dreamt about having my own kids. Once I was diagnosed, that changed my thought about children. I wondered if I could have children and what that might look like for me. After years of debating back and forth on whether we should have our own children, we decided not to have our own children due to the uncertainty of my condition. This condition requires us to continually adapt to my progressing condition, including mobility aids and adapting our house. We always have to plan one step ahead to anticipate what might work in our home. My message to other women living with DMD is to try to stay as positive as you can, and I know that's difficult sometimes, but try to be as positive as you can, and also don't let this stop you from doing things that you actually want to do. It might look a little bit different for you, but you can still do it, and I really have learned that lesson throughout my life. Is just I can still do a lot of things in my life. It's just going to look a little bit differently for me than it might for somebody else, and that's okay.